see if I can see it.
I did, I just looked at it. Thank you. I was coming back to tell you something. Is it a rubbish can on this side?
It's that way.
Oh,
You try it. You want me to throw it away for you?
Are you going to bring up the charge thing tonight, or about that, public comment?
We were organizing dates, we were figuring out what dates are on that was
Okay, good. Okay, good. Okay, Danielle, good. I understand that. Okay, so you're gonna pull some dates on it?
Yeah, we're gonna send you guys out some dates, to talk to us to be able to attend, because the idea is for us to be able to draft.
No, I understand.
You know, and we can't be there.
Yeah. And is there a drop dead date that has to be done like absolutely, or it has to be finished by X date?
No, because when you think about it, it's gonna be a special, oh, you'll have to have a special ballot anyways, so it's really just, obviously, we don't want to slow walk it,
Yeah.
it's not the intent, but we don't have like a,
So like a year is gonna be okay?
oh my god, it doesn't take that long, but yes, it could, if we wanted it to, it could.
Yeah.
You know, if you wanted to, if the charter review would want to amend it 100 times. it could.
No, I'm thinking about the time it gets, from the time you start the process to the time that the city commission actually votes on it twice.
It would be less than a year.
Less than a year,
Yeah,
okay.
High Springs did it in 4 months.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because we do the meetings in pretty rapid succession.
Yeah.
We basically do them every other week for
Okay.
6 to 8 weeks.
Oh, yes, that's a workshop.
Yeah. But it won't be that, it'll be live.
Took out, yeah, right.
Yeah, so, and like in high school, you just like around table, it wasn't like you sit on the dais and just, those are the nice people, kind of people too. So you had not only the charter review board, but you also had the
Okay, that blows that second time frame.
Yeah.
So the only two real notice votes have to be the city commission going twice, right?
Because they'll do an ordinance to run that.
Right.
Some of it will be like, the issue we ran into at High Springs was we have like 15 substantive amendments, and so they had to cut, because it was gonna be so expensive to put 15 substantive amendments on the ballot. So they went from 15 to 30, they essentially figured which Senate they were the most important. And that was what ended up on the ballot. So it's something we'll discuss with you guys as well. You know, you can redo the whole charter. Sorry, I'll catch you up.
I was trying to wait.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. It is 6 o'clock, so we're gonna go ahead and open our meeting. I have asked Commissioner Hope to lead us in prayer, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance by Vice Mayor.
For those that would like to participate, please stand and bow your heads. Dear Lord in heaven, we thank you for our opportunity to meet freely and ask you to grace us with your presence this evening. We thank our staff, contractors, guests, and community citizens for participating with us, your public servants, as we humbly come before you to conduct the business of the city of Archer. We thank you for you protecting and keeping us relatively safe during the recent storms, and we pray for those and their families who did not fare as well. We thank you for our men and women in uniform throughout the world who ensure our freedoms at home. Keep them, dear Lord, and remain close with their families until their safe return home. We ask you to be with all our first responders who ensure our safety, health, and well-being 24/7. We thank them for their service and care for us and ask you to keep them as they do their job for us. May we listen well, discuss and interact with civility, and make decisions this evening that are fairly the best for all. Dear Heavenly Father, keep all of us throughout the strife around the world that we have put upon ourselves. And may we remember that the greatness of a man's power is the measure of his surrender. And as is written in your word in 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 7, this priceless treasure we hold, so to speak, in common earthenware, to show that the splendid power of it belongs to you, God, and not to us. In your holy name we pray. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you to both of you. Additions or deletions to the agenda?
Yes, ma'am. Staff would like to remove guest number 1.
Okay. Anything else? Guess number 1. Oh. The one that is
Yes.
on, okay, with the new one. All right, thank you. All right, anything from the dais? No? Oh. All right, do we have a motion to adopt the agenda with the change?
So moved, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. We have a motion by Commissioner Holt and a second by Commissioner White. Any discussion? Commissioners? No discussion? Public discussion on the motion? Seeing none, let's go to a vote. All in favor of the motion on the floor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed likewise. Motion carries 4-0. And I have a note about Commissioner Green and forgot. So she is going to be late. It says she probably won't get here until about 7. Do I have a motion to excuse her?
So moved.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second to excuse Commissioner Green. The motion was by Commissioner White, second was by Vice Mayor. Any discussion on the motion? Public discussion on the motion. All right, let's go to a vote. All in favor of the motion on the floor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise. Motion carries 4-0. Consent agenda. We have, looks like 6 things. The approval of the minutes from September 9th, September 16, September 16, the continuation, September 19, the ratification of 2 2024 Triple Crown, 7x16 telescoping dump trailers, and then the right-of-way use permit for the consent agenda. That's what
I'll move to accept the consent agenda, to approve the consent agenda.
Thank you. We have a motion by Commissioner White. We have a second by Vice Mayor. Any discussion? Public discussion on the motion? Seeing none, let's go to a vote. All in favor of the motion on the floor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise. Motion carries 4-0. All right, we are down to the guest. So Kimberly Horn and its project updates.
Felicity said she probably wasn't going to make it. She was going to try to send somebody, but if not, she just included the report so we could see what
Okay.
she's working on, or
And-
we're working on.
And I did talk to Felicity, and she had said, which I forgot to reach out to her today, she had said she could call in, she can possibly call in if she couldn't make it. So I am gonna send her a message, and we can move on to public announcements and comments, and maybe she will respond by then. All right, so public announcements. All right, then let's move on to public comments, and please state your name and you will have 3 minutes.
Good afternoon, Karen Fiore. I just have a few observations. For the agenda item on the CM job description, I'm confused why we didn't see a red line version of this job description. I would assume that the commissioners provided staff with the changes they wanted to see prior to tonight's meeting. Redlining this from the diocese seems very inefficient and probably disrespectful of the citizens' time. We should have been provided a red line version with each commissioner's change, and then tonight during this meeting, then you would have accepted those changes or not as a group that you're allowed to talk. At the very least, we could have received a red line version showing the verbiage that we all said we wanted added, which was the residency requirement within city limits. Residency should not only be included in the contract, you should never get as far as the contract negotiations without them already knowing that that's a requirement. The audit update, where is it? There isn't anything in the backup. The city needs to be more transparent. You can't continue to allow staff to just stand up at the podium and wing it. Backup should have been included. The auditor's data request checklist, which is this at every audit, that should show what is still outstanding that needs to be provided to the auditors or what has already been sent to the auditors. And when we do get to the update on the audit, I would ask that we be told what the FY24 audit timeline is and address any data that still needs to be entered into the system for FY24. Again, I can't stress enough that we need more transparency. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I think it needs to be clear to the citizens that we received an email from the attorney's office. And I didn't know it was going to be on the agenda until I got my packet. But it was for us to make changes. We weren't going to discuss it tonight. I apologize. Did I get it right?
Yeah, the job description's on the agenda as you all requested at the last meeting. I believe it was Commissioner Hope who asked that our office bring back, I think it was just a job description. I went ahead and did the whole job posting just to save staff some time and to give you guys a big full picture as well as citizens. I did go ahead and begin the process of redrafting a city manager contract with the changes that were brought to light this go around both by you as well as citizens. So the residency requirement has been added in the first new version of the city manager contract. The only reason it's not on the agenda is simply because we haven't even started the process of looking. I just wanted to get it to you all preliminarily so you could start to see the changes that we had made and figured out what you like, what you don't like. So that's just an update from my side of things.
So the revised
Contract,
no, not the contract, just
the job description.
Yeah, so you're saying you revised that?
I wrote it.
The one that's in the backup is the new one?
Yes, that's not, I don't even know that I have a copy of what, because I don't think my office did the job description last time. So I just went ahead and wrote it from scratch based upon the complaints that we had seen in our previous city managers and as well as what the market standard is at.
Oh, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
First, I'd like to say, Mayor Bailey, thank you for the town hall meeting. It was a wonderful panel, and the questions I had, we picked that up the next day further, and I really learned a lot from it. And I wanted to announce, too, that on the 29th of October, it's a regular market day, but it's our fall festival, and it's the time that the vendors can do Halloween things and something just a little bit special. So that's October 29th, which is a Tuesday, and it's our farmers market day.
Thank you.
Okay, so Robert Kisicki, citizen of Archer. My thoughts and questions are about, we had a meeting a few months back about the Maddox Foundry and all the different subjects covered. And at that time, we had people stand up and tell us how terrible Archer looked. Some of the buildings, some of the things going on. And we have a foundry, or had a foundry, now that looks like it's a dump. Because it's not been cut, it's not been anything done to it. And so they cried about problems in Archer and are creating a problem in Archer with the look of Archer. I know that Deanna probably has a lot going on being with everything else, but obviously, where do we go? Do we continue with the codes and say, you're out of codes altogether, and is he gonna cry and tear the whole place down? Or, you know, that's gonna be a question of mine, is if we push that, is he gonna think that, well, maybe he ought to just tear it down and just destroy everything? Because it's already in sad shape. So it's just something to think about for our future of that area in Archer before it even gets anything done to it.
Thank you. This-
Hi, Charles Stufano, resident. I'd like to follow up on the special magistrates meeting that occurred on September 5th. It was the last one Tony attended. It was Special Magistrate 2024-01, and it was for the CE case CV0603 2024-01. It's the issue with dilapidated home for In-Light Homes. It's on County Road 346, about a quarter mile down past the post office. At that meeting, Tony gave the owner 30 days to bring a contractor in and determine whether it needed to come down or if it could be rehabbed. I'd like to, maybe in a week, be able to follow up and find out where that's at. I hate to lose all the momentum we've gained, because the yard's been cleaned. I think there's still one dilapidated shed in the back, and there's still a big pile of steel by the street, but it's been improved. But I'd like to see it come to fruition at this point.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Roberto Lopez. I am here to share a bridge that was purchased by my husband and I for Carlton. Over at the community center, there are several blank bricks. And some of those bricks are not suitable for paving or placing there, even though they are blank. There's a difference in the type of paver that you need for a pathway. So what I did in your documents, I recommended that page where you have the crack from the lawnmower, because I think it's easy access to that. The others that you see in your package, the brick is sinking down. The bricks are, it's more than one, is sinking down. So I would suggest that you put that on the agenda for later and just do the one where it's sinking. And then maybe we can come back to that. But as you know, Carlton is no longer here with us, but his family are very tickled about this. I know that he cared a lot about the Archer Community Center, and I just think that it's appropriate for us to place this brick at the community center so that it would be safe. That's the only place I could think of that it would possibly be a safe place. This is a special made brick for a paver. Okay? And I will be leaving, and y'all have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lopez.
All right, are we done with public comments? All right, I think we're done with public comments. All right, I don't have a message from Felicity yet, so we're gonna move on to the planning calendar. Got it.
So we have trunk or treat on Thursday, October 31st at Wilson Robinson Park. Commissioner White, I didn't know the time, so I didn't put anything in here. Just 5 to 8, okay.
Okay. 5.
And then City Hall will be closed on Monday, November 11th, in observation of Veterans Day holiday. So later in the meeting, we have requested to have the city commission meeting on Tuesday, November 12th at 6 p.m. at City Hall.
Okay. Thank you.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
on the trunk or treat, we have a planning meeting that we've had to postpone twice now. Tomorrow evening at Ollie Mae Robinson Senior Center at 6 o'clock for anybody that wants to come.
Planning meeting for what?
Trunk or treat.
Trunk or treat.
Trunk or treat,
Is there a tentative start time for it that you know of? Same time as last year, 5:30?
5 to 8.
5 to 8.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But the meeting tomorrow is at 6, starts at 6. Thank you. All right, we're going to old business. Agenda item 1 is audit update.
Madam Mayor, I spoke with Caleb, the auditor, this morning, and he said he thought they had all they needed. They might have to come in and get a couple of other things, but he thought they had all they needed. He is on vacation this week, so Noah is taking over. Yeah, they're going on a cruise. And I'm sure all of you got the same email that I got. Caleb told me about it 2 weeks ago, and he told me that he and Cindy were trying to make a plan, and I guess they decided to do payments on it. We're in debt, we're hurting, and we're gonna have to take a hard look at where we're standing, so I guess Cindy can explain.
Thank you. Never mind. I was gonna say Cindy here. Hi, Cindy.
I didn't bring it with me in here, I apologize.
Do you wanna?
I can do a basic, I have it in, I guess I could look on my phone. So, as I brought it to you several times, when we switched to Edmunds, they never had payroll right, and you can't file taxes on doubled and tripled payroll. They were trying to correct it. I worked with them. They were supposed to have it done before January 1st. Well, as we know, it didn't happen. And so when I had to do W-2s is when I said enough is enough and did it in QuickBooks. So having said that, we paid all the payroll taxes up until we stopped using QuickBooks in, I'm going to say it's July. August, right there somewhere, end of July. And so we owed roughly $27,000 for that quarter, which closed out 2023. And then we owe $150,000, give or take some change, for the entire year because we haven't come to a conclusion. It just never got done. We didn't have the funds to back pay. That's what we're going to figure out a schedule. We have now started, as of this year, so it's not going to gain anymore, I guess is what I'm trying to say. We are paying them currently as we do payroll. We've been trying to figure out a solution for it, but until we know what we're going to get for ad valorem taxes, we really can't guess on what we're going to pay, how we're going to do it.
I'm confused, Cindy. We owe about $175,
$175,000.
$175,000, yeah,
Correct.
in employment taxes. And we don't know how we're gonna pay it.
Correct. And we're gonna make a payment plan. That's how we're gonna pay it.
I'm buying Edmunds, okay? If you're saying it was because of Edmunds, I'm good. If it's because of Edmunds, the money should be there, and it's not there. We don't have the money.
Yeah, the money was spent.
And that's what I'm saying. It was spent when we owed it. You knew we owed it.
Absolutely.
Somebody should have told us we owed it.
I did.
No, you didn't.
Okay.
No, you
I'm not
did
gonna
not.
fight this fight with you.
Do either of you remember being told we owed taxes?
Not payroll taxes, no. Not payroll
None of
taxes,
us.
Commissioner Ware.
I'm sorry, Cindy, but like I said, my water bill's due. I was gonna pay it last week, the hurricane hit, I didn't get it paid, so I was gonna pay it today, I forgot it.
But you still have the money.
But it's in my bank account to pay it
Correct. I
tomorrow,
understand that.
and that's all I'm saying. If you knew it had to be paid, the money should be there. And if you saw that we didn't have it, we should have been told
I agree.
we didn't have it. I mean, and this is on us, as much as it is her and the man that was sitting here before.
You have your microphone on. What do you, oh, you just,
I just answered Commissioner White when she asked me the question, sorry.
all right.
So you said some was paid in July or August of this year or last?
Last year, when we started Edmunds.
So for this year of 24, we owe 100 and something,
150.
and everything is paid from last year, or is that a mixture
27,000,
of
everything else. 27,000 of the year, calendar, or our fiscal year, 23, we owe 27,000, which I was gonna pay before the end of the audit. But I was advised not to, and to start paying this at the beginning of this year.
So we owe for 2 years, 23 and 24?
Technically, yes. So it's
So-
1 year and 2 months.
But not for 25.
No.
And you said we're going, oh, you're waiting on ad valorem.
Well, yeah,
That's what you said.
we can't do anything extra until we get some ad valorem.
Until we get what?
Ad valorem
The ad
tax
valorem
money.
taxes, the final installment of that.
Right.
And Cindy, if I may, Madam Mayor, that normally is received by November?
End of November, yeah.
Okay.
It can come anywhere in
I
November.
mean, from my memory, it's before Thanksgiving, that
Correct.
final payment of ad valorem comes in. Thank you.
I have one more thing.
Okay.
Do we have any more outstanding bills that are big bills that have got to be paid? We need to know it, Cindy.
I understand. I believe you have a $20,000 payment for, that I haven't gotten the bill for yet, for the new community center. That's coming up.
I think it's 25, isn't it?
I knew it was 20-something.
I think it's 25.
I know that we have 9,000 for Gator Sketch. Deanna found today a 65,000, but we're not sure if that was actually a bill from them, because it doesn't show it's owed, but it was like a total they were gonna be given.
For Gator Sketch? Oh,
She found that this afternoon, late this afternoon, so we haven't really, did you get an answer from them about that?
The lady from Gators, I emailed them because Kimley Horn let me know that we're kind of at a critical point now to either order this building or we're gonna lose our funding. So I'm like, oh my. So I emailed Gator Sketch, asked them what was going on. She emailed me not long ago and said what was all happening. The permit needed to be paid for, which we'll do that. And she gave me the name of the guy that's supposed to be ordering the building, that she's waiting on a site number. So I'm planning on calling her and him tomorrow to find out why we're so far behind, because we've delayed it 3 times.
Mhm.
We only have one more extension left. And then if it's not done by June of '25, we're gonna lose all of our funding, so that's coming up quick.
Yeah, it
So we're
is.
trying to figure out what happened there as well.
Okay.
What date was that? I'm sorry.
June 30th of '25 is the end of the grants for the new community
Is our
center.
final extension
We have
deadline?
one more final extension. The current one ends December this year.
Okay.
We have one more, and the way she explained it, if we don't get it done and everything submitted by June 30th of '25, we're gonna lose the money.
The funding, okay,
Yes.
thank you. Madam Mayor, may I ask one
Yes.
additional question?
Well, wait, were you done?
I'm done.
Okay.
Sorry, she is.
She's done, she said.
Did we pay Edmonds their annual $20,000 fee?
We have
Because I
not yet.
recommend, Madam Mayor, we do not pay Edmonds another cent. And my opinion is see you in court.
Well, I believe we have a meeting with them again tomorrow.
I don't mean that on the record as a threat, I just mean where we're at, we have priorities. so.
Correct. I understand. All right. Any other questions for Cindy while she's here?
So, have we ever had to pay like this before? Is this a first time thing that we owe this money like this, or?
Well, once before, but it was only for one sector. It was only for one quarter, and that was because QuickBooks was messed up and we were locked out of everything at that one point. But that's minimal compared to almost 4.5 sectors, quarters, so.
It is done, we have to do it every year.
We have to do it every quarter.
Yeah, but it's annual.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
All right. Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you.
Thank you, Cindy.
Agenda item 2, temporary moratorium on land uses.
Mr. Lewandowski asked to be put on the agenda for this.
Oh, come on.
Good evening, Bill Lewandowski. So you received a potential plan that looked at how you would revise the current land use ordinances concurrently with a moratorium. Now, Attorney Flagg, thank you. Attorney Flagg, I'm having a hard time tonight. Attorney Flagg had sent an email to the city attorney's office showing the law, and I mentioned that very briefly at the last meeting. So essentially what has to happen, there are 2 main things. One is that if you vote for a moratorium, the only thing you can do tonight, please correct me if I'm wrong, is you can refer it to the Planning Commission for a hearing. So a moratorium has to go through the exact same process that a zoning ordinance has to go through. So that means that you can refer to the Planning Commission like you would if you were going to refer a new ordinance, what you've done in the past. That was the process you did. You had somebody refer it, work on it. You referred it to the Planning Commission. The Planning Commission then must have a hearing, quasi-judicial hearing, I believe. Or just regular hearing? Just regular hearing?
It would be it's a code change. It's not
Code
specific
change,
to a
that's right.
a
So-
piece of land, so it's not quasi-judicial.
Thank you, yes, so it has to be at a hearing with the proper notice. So that's really important for all the notices to be out to current property owners in the zones. And then the Planning Commission makes a recommendation to you. You have 2 bites at the apple if you're going to approve it. So it has to go through the exact same process, and I can't overemphasize enough the issue at notice. So the courts have said, and I can just read this to you real quick. So Florida courts have upheld development moratoriums aimed at maintaining the status quo while municipalities formulate effective and desirable land use regulations. Now again, that's, the big caveat is doing it the right way. So tonight, you can refer to the Planning Commission for a hearing, and then we can all get up and we can all talk about the pros and cons of it. The other piece of this, and it's going to come up a little bit later in the agenda, is the idea of revising the land use ordinances. So I have presented, I'll talk about this a little bit more later, so I won't take up a lot of time on it, but essentially I've presented to you a plan which assumes that you're going to work with the North Florida, thank you, council, right, work with the planning council to hire somebody, and we go through that process. Now, my strong recommendation is going to be that you start working on the plan now, so we're not consuming time. So that, it's going to take at least 8 months, 9 months to go through the entire process of revising the land use ordinances with all the hearings you have to have. So now's the time to start that process so that the actual amount of time of the moratorium is not that long. So by my calculations, if you voted today to go to refer this to the Planning Commission for a moratorium, the earliest that you could actually start the moratorium would probably be like your January meeting. In the meantime, you can start going through the process of starting the revision of the land use ordinances. So that's my recommendation to you. Subject to your questions. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
So I have questions. Were you about to expound?
I don't know, maybe I'm a mind reader, we're gonna find out, I guess.
Go ahead. You do your thing. If not, we'll talk.
It would be an ordinance that would go through. So planning and zoning is gonna see it as a resolution recommending you either approve or deny the ordinance. Mr. Lewandowski's right, you're gonna get 2 hearings at it. The thing that I'm going to caveat for you all and kind of, because we're talking about finances, you're gonna have to do a business impact estimate for the ordinance. It's not going to be something that myself or Deanna are capable of doing. To determine the number of businesses that are going to be impacted by a moratorium, I don't have the knowledge to do that. And I hate to speak for Deanna, but I imagine she also doesn't. So you're going to have to look at a private consultant to come in and do your business impact estimate correctly. There's a case actually in Orange County right now going on where an ordinance has been stayed as a result of improperly doing their business impact estimate. Essentially, the whole ordinance is null and void for the time being. So, absolutely within your control and power to do. I did just want to flag that for you guys because I know that that's something that we don't think about, the little fine details when we start to talk about big projects.
Thank you.
So when does the business,
It has to accompany the second reading of the ordinance.
okay,
So realistically,
so
you
we're
could.
looking at March?
You could, well, you'd still be on your timeline, you just have to recognize that you're gonna have to get somebody in here to do the business impact estimate. I'm just flagging that for you guys. It doesn't have to happen and be presented, I think it's gotta be posted 3 days before the second reading on the website. There's a spot on our website where we put them. But I just wanted to flag that for you guys, that needs to be something that you're thinking about. Obviously, you're gonna have some time, like Mr. Lewandowski was saying, by the time you get through P and Z and your first read here, you're talking months because of the single meeting a month. But it just needs to not be something that gets put on the back burner to such a point that then we're not prepared to have our last hearing as a result of not having the business impact estimate ready.
Was that your only question for?
She answered my question, yeah, but, this is something that we need to have done. Y'all don't hear me. We really do, but we've also got, yeah, we're gonna make some hard decisions about finances, so, I don't know.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
I don't know what it's gonna cost. It could cost next to nothing. I wanted to flag that for you guys because I know that finances is on the tip of everyone's tongue right now in the city of Archer.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Madam Mayor, this is directed to Deanna, just as a leftover from Mr. Hammond. Have you been in contact with Scott Coons, North Central Florida Regional Planning Council Administrative Executive Director, on the scope of what their services can and cannot provide, or what do they need from us, like this first decision, to know the scope of what we're trying to do, or certainly the business impact analysis? I mean, are they capable of providing that for us?
I haven't reached out to him to answer your question.
Okay, and again, I'm not trying to make them the yellow brick road or behind the doors of the Emerald City and what they can do, but I know that they provide our planning services and scope of services within a certain parameter with the $7,000 a year we pay for. They also, as I sit as chair of the 13 counties, 44 municipalities, They all have comp plans, they all have amendments to their comp plans, they all go through a clearinghouse subcommittee of, the members to review this through the master planners that they provide for us. It's just a routine. And so there are those elements that are reviewed, and then there are specifics, just like when we went through our last comp plan update, with the visioning process provided through their services as well. So Madam Mayor, I'm asking Deanna if she could exhaust that conversation with Mr. Coons relative now to the timeline kind of that we're starting to speak about, and can they or can they not help us?
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
given the amount of things that Deanna's doing right now, I'd be happy to do that if that's
Okay.
the will of the commission. Just given everything on
fine.
her plate, I'd be happy to do it.
Okay.
Yes, that's fine with me. Is it fine with you
Thank you.
too?
Thank you.
It's fine with me.
It's fine with me.
And once she learns, maybe at the next meeting we bring this back up, because this is something we need to address. If you go on Facebook at all, you see people all the time talking about different things. Trailers in residential areas and chickens.
Land development, land development opportunities that come before them and everything, this, in a whole region, this comes before North Central Florida Regional Planning Council. So it's a first step. I'm not trying to make them out the yellow brick road that they can do everything, but I think we need to exhaust that effort, through that conversation. And we never got an update from Mr. Hammond. I know they had a communication, that's all, because I was hounding him. Have you spoken with Mr. Coons? What does he need from us to move it forward with what they can or cannot provide? And this is all within the last 6 weeks, of his exit, so thank you.
I'm happy to bring back a detailed report at the next meeting.
Thank you. All right, we're going to new business. Agenda item 1, request to move the November 11 City Commission meeting to November 12th due to Veterans Day.
So moved, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. We have a motion by Commissioner White and a second by Vice Mayor. Any commission discussion? Public discussion or comment? All right, let's go to a vote. All in favor of the motion on the floor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise. Motion carries 4-0. Agenda item 2, proclamation and recognition posthumously of Josiah Thomas Walls, and Mrs. Jenkins, Robinson Jenkins, is going to read it for us. Please and thank you. Come.
I'm hesitating because I left it here.
I have one. Hold on, I might have two.
Always.
Oh, look.
Jody always has my back.
That's right.
Proclamation.
Do you want mine? Because I do have two.
No, I'm good.
Proclamation of the City of Archer in recognition posthumous of Josiah Thomas Walls. Whereas Josiah Thomas Walls was born a slave on December 30, 1842, near Winchester, Frederick County, Virginia. Whereas during the American Civil War, young Josiah served in the Confederate Army and the Union Army. In the Union Army, he rose in rank from private to first sergeant. Later in life, he received a brigadier general, and I always say that wrong, commission in the Florida militia. Whereas during the period known as Reconstruction, Josiah was elected to the Florida House of Representatives, twice to the Florida State Senate, and 3 times to the United States House of Representatives in Washington, D.C. He was Florida's first black congressman. Whereas Josiah Walls was a teacher in Archer, a successful farmer and lawyer in Alachua County, mayor of Gainesville, a member of the Alachua County Commission, an owner, editor, publisher of a Gainesville newspaper, New Era, and a founder of the prestigious Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University in Tallahassee, Florida. Whereas Josiah was a property owner in Alachua County with 80 acres outside Newmansville, 1/2 block in downtown Gainesville, and a 1,150 acre plantation between Micanopy and Archer. The plantation was owned by a Confederate general. Whereas Josiah received many more awards, too numerous to mention herein. Now therefore be it resolved by virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor of the city of Archer, the city commissioners of the city of Archer do hereby proclaim December 30, 2024 to be Josiah Thomas Walls Day. In witness whereof I have hereto set my hand and caused the great seal, and I'm just reading this.
I got you.
Of, beg pardon?
I got you.
Okay. Of the city of Archer, Florida, to be affixed at Archer, Florida, this 14th day of October in the year 2024.
Do we have a motion?
So
to
moved,
accept?
Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Do we have a second? Vice Mayor don't know how to turn on her microphone, so
I
excuse her.
second.
So
I
we have a
second.
motion by Commissioner White and a second by Vice Mayor. Is there any discussion? Thank you for the reading. Public discussion.
Yes,
Let's,
there was a second,
can you come to the microphone, please?
My name is George Richard Chamberlain, and I'm a resident of 143rd Street, right outside of Archer.
Yes, sir.
And there was a second amended version of that sent to you that had corrected one error, and that error was not read just now.
What was that?
Okay. Josiah Walls was elected one time to the Georgia House, to the Florida House, 2 times to the State Senate, and 3 times to the United States Congress.
Okay. All right, we might have to add those. Thank you.
I will amend my motion to contain the amendments.
Thank you.
I second.
All right. If that was the only public comment on it, let's go to a vote. All in favor of the motion on the floor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed likewise. Motion carries 4-0 and
Thank you very much.
aye signed. Thank you. All right. Hold on, moving right along to agenda item 3, resolution number 2024-21, approving the local government planning services agreement with the North Central Florida Regional Planning Council.
Madam Mayor, this is resolution number 2024-21, a resolution of the City of Archer, Florida, approving the local government comprehensive planning services agreement between the City of Archer and the North Central Florida Regional Planning Council, authorizing the appropriate city staff and officials to execute the agreement, providing that the City of Archer will accept the responsibilities outlined in the attached agreement, repealing all resolutions in conflict, and establishing an effective date.
So moved, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. We have a motion by Commissioner Hope and a second by Commissioner White. Any discussion? Commissioner discussion? None? Public discussion on the motion?
Karen Fiore, can I be told how much that will cost the city?
Correct me if I may, Madam Mayor, Deanna, but I think it's approximately $77,000 a year annually. It may be a little bit more than that, but it's around the $7,000 mark. Contract.
It's seven.
Okay, so we heard earlier that we're broke, we have no money. We stole over $87,000 from our employees by not paying their taxes, but you're now going to continue to write checks. I'm very confused on that.
Madam Mayor, if I was speaking my
Go
opinion, we
ahead.
also, part of the process, Ms. Fiore, is to make sure that we receive the ad valorem taxes in November.
So when you pay somebody, that doesn't go into your checking account to be spent.
It's
That-
already spent.
that-
I understand, pretty much.
I'm not sure if we understand how bad that was. You
Okay.
stole $87,000.
We did not steal anything.
Yes, you did.
And,
You
and,
spent money
and
that you
since-
took out of
Okay.
paychecks for
All right, ma'am.
employees.
So guess what, Ms. Fiore? Since you came up, you spoke, you sat down, you don't get to come back and forth.
Well, you
It-
change your rules all the time.
No, I don't change my rules. And since this is where we're going, from now on, I'll make sure I stick to them when you are coming up. It's not a threat, it's a promise. You asked the question, can you have more time? 2 previous meetings, and I allowed it because you asked. But if you want to be nasty about it, we'll stick with what everybody else gets. Thank you very much. We are done.
Okay.
Moving right along. Any other questions or comments about this?
Yeah, so I looked at the agreement, it doesn't really outline the services. Is there something that's more detailed that we can get a hold of that says what their services are?
Madam Mayor, that can be provided to the public and put on the website.
Okay, is it on the website?
It can
It can be
be.
provided
No,
and
no, I mean-
added on the website.
No, I mean, so, excuse me, is it on their website? Do they have a website that's on there?
Yes.
So I can go there and look at it?
Yes, and what
All
their
right.
services are for the 13 counties and the 43 municipalities that they serve. Yes.
Okay, all right.
But I do think it is a good idea for us to put it on ours.
exactly, yeah.
And have it in city office.
Any other comments, questions? Scoldings? Yes, ma'am.
Lindsay Jenkins. Archer, Florida is my hometown. I love Archer. I just don't like to hear the word stole. We're here to help each other.
Correct.
Okay, we're professionals. Don't come here and accuse my commissioners of stealing, because Fletcher Hope, Joni White, 2019, y'all had my back. When I brought this ugly story to Rose about Rosewood, you two voted just the same as you did tonight. When are we going to start getting along with each other, y'all? I'm tired.
Me too.
I'm old, and I'm just tired of hearing attacks on
Me too.
us.
Me too. Thank you.
That's my story, and I'm
Mayor.
sticking to it.
Yes.
And you can call it a scolding, you can call it whatever, but she's right. We inadvertently stole from our employees, us being 5 of them. We did it, we allowed it to happen. And while I have to go along with this because I believe we need this, she's right.
Well, that's your opinion, and that's her opinion,
Can't
and
shut me
that,
up like you
and-
can
and-
her.
Well, hey, that's fine. I actually can, but we're not going there. Anyway, we're not doing this, Joni White, tonight. We're not doing this. It is, Commissioner, and we're not doing this. Because she's entitled to hers and you're entitled to yours. And I am like Miss Jenkins here. This has gone on long enough, all of this being rude and nasty to each other. There's a right way and a wrong way to do everything. There's a right way and a wrong way to get a point across. And from this point going forward, that is what we're going to do.
Well, thank you for the lesson.
You're quite welcome. That's exactly what I'm here for. Moving right along.
You have a motion on the floor.
Yes, ma'am, that's where I'm moving to. Let's go to a vote, please. All in favor of the motion on the floor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed likewise. Motion carries 4-0. Agenda item 4, request to release lien on property located at 13845 Southwest 167th Terrace.
So this young gentleman came in to speak with me, but if he wants to speak, you can go ahead about the pictures that's included in there.
Good evening. My name is Joshua Cobbett, and I'm with JD Denmark Restorations LLC. This is my beautiful wife, Amber, in the back. Recently, within the last 30 days, we acquired the property listed at the address here of 13845 Southwest 167 Terrace. We were made aware that it had liens on it, and it needed to be brought up to compliance. The property sits on roughly half an acre. We did more than bring it up to compliance. We cleared the entire half an acre, as well as we placed a new roof on top of the property within the 30-day time frame. We respectfully ask, and we put ourselves before the mercy of the city of Archer to ask that you guys release the lien on the property.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Where is this?
So,
I know I had the address.
It's back
somewhere.
here.
Where's that?
There's a lot of pictures.
Yes, ma'am. I made sure I took extensive pictures so you guys could have everything that you need to see.
is it the one by the community center?
Yes, ma'am. It's down in the cul-de-sac.
Yeah,
actually.
Okay.
and there by the community. I didn't even know there was that much property back
What was the lien?
Neither
Me
did I.
either.
It was for overgrowth. Sorry. It was for overgrowth.
The amount.
It's already maxed out at the 15,000 because it's been, I believe the lady passed away.
Yes, the gentleman
Man,
passed
sorry.
away, and he had a probate situation where he had a son out of town. His son was not aware of the lien itself because, if I'm not mistaken, the lien letters were going to a different address. So we got all this cleared up. We got him on the phone. We were able to make a deal with him to acquire the property. And since we've acquired the property in the last 30 days, we spent over $28,000 just on the property alone. It has nothing to do with the rehab that still needs to be done.
Kevin, do we have any idea how much we have in administrative costs on this? Just,
It would be whatever we did the special magistrate, the filing fees, which it doesn't show any filing fees on here. I don't know if Danielle knows
Do we
what
know,
those cost.
there wouldn't be any filing fees, it would just be the cost of the special magistrate attendance. I think he's like $150 or $200 an hour. And then, the recording of it, it's a 3-page document, it wouldn't be more than like $30 to record something like this. So I mean, like a couple $100.
we've all, I'm sorry, City of Archer's always been in the business of compliance, not going after property. I'm all for forgiving it, the lien, but with the exception of the administrative fees. And I'll make that a motion.
We have a motion by Commissioner White. Do we have a second?
I second that, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. We have a second by Commissioner Hope. So we would have to, do we know what the total is? Is it that easy?
Was it just the 230?
We can confirm, I don't wanna charge him $200 if Walker Bullock wasn't out here for an hour, you know what I mean? So I think that you all are releasing the lien contingent upon his paying of administrative costs. Commissioner White didn't specify an amount, it's probably like $200, $300 max. So we can just do it such that as soon as we figure it out tomorrow morning, first thing, we'll send it over to him. And if he's all right with paying the administrative costs, I can prepare a satisfaction release of lien.
I have a better suggestion. I think my wife wouldn't disagree. We will pay $500.
Oh, so you want the motion to be amended
Yes,
to,
ma'am.
to
$500.
just, to for 500?
I'm more than willing to do that. I'm just drunk. Yeah, that's great, thank you.
Thank you guys so much, and I deeply appreciate it.
You amend your motion? Your second?
I have one final question. Is the property in full compliance at this time?
Yes, it is.
By
Yes, sir.
record, by photo, by everything we do
Yes, sir.
in the
it is.
process of the magistrate? Thank you.
Yes.
I'll amend my motion to that second. Thank you very much for your
Yes, sir.
loyalty as a new citizen.
Thank you. And it looks good with the pictures. So, yeah, I'm gonna have to ride by there and see. Thank you. All right. Public discussion on the motion.
Yes, Charles Tufano, and I appreciate you, I didn't get your name? Joshua, Charlie. My question is, there was $15,000, so the previous owner had the lien, not you. You just bought the property. So when that property sold, should it not have been, when it was sold, that lien should have been satisfied, the 15,000 should have came to the city of Archer. What happened there? Like, I don't think this gentleman should pay for
He
it.
said that the son did not know that there was a lien.
But here's a big hole. There's
Mr.
$15,000.
Tufano, if it went through probate to be transferred, no title search was done.
Okay, so if it was homestead. Okay.
Correct, they don't,
Homesteading, because we have this thing, and if somebody goes on and on and on, it's
Right.
$15,000.
right. But they have, because I do all of our probate work at the firm, when it's homestead like that, it just passes right through in an order. You know, you're not attesting to whether or not there's liens on it or, mortgages or anything to that effect. As long as you're meeting those homestead requirements, that's all they look at. And then the order from the court transfers the property.
There's nothing the city can do to be advised.
Well, and there's nothing that the attorney doing the probate, typically that would
Because-
fall on the real estate transaction attorney to
Okay.
flag that. We'll have folks come in front of us sometimes that are trying to close on loans or the house and the title's clouded. So,
Okay.
but when they're doing the probates, there's no way,
That you would know.
it wouldn't pop.
No, I'm just thinking that might have helped the city.
Right.
I'm sorry, what was your first and last name, husband and wife?
My name is Joshua Cobbett, and this is my wife,
What's the last name?
Cobbett, C-O-B-B-E-T-T.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cobbett.
Was that the only public comment? All right, then let's go for a vote. All in favor of the motion on the floor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed likewise. Motion carries 4-0.
Madam Mayor, I'll probably have to solicit your signature sometime this week on that document, just so you know, because obviously I
That's
don't
fine.
have it tonight.
All right, thank you. Agenda item 5, discussion on proposed city manager description.
Madam Mayor, I had put this in response to the job description asking be brought before you all. I went ahead and went online as though I was applying to be a city manager in the state of Florida and determined what things people are including in their job descriptions. I know that you guys have discovered established a number of databases that you want to post it on, so I checked all of those. So this is really for you all to consider, what you like about it, what you don't like about it. Obviously, we'll do an interview process. That's going to be the usual song and dance. This is just your initial, qualifications, what you're looking for in a candidate, and the key responsibilities that the city manager is responsible for.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
on that note, I've spoken to Deanna, and Deanna is willing to serve as interim. Could you get by me? For 6 months at $75,000. And that will save us a lot of money, if she's still, after this week, willing to do it. But she has said that she would do it, and it will give us time to save some of that money and to really look at doing this.
I like that, and thank you, Deanna, for offering that option. So I don't know if there is a motion for us to consider, but I like that option.
I will make the motion because I think it's good for us, and it's going to give us an opportunity. That's a lot of money between what she's, bless her heart. Did you look at that to make sure that's good?
I did a bunch of calculations, and I actually wanted to ask for 80, only because of what I made last year compared to now.
That's
It's
still-
not that
that's-
much.
that's still
I mean, it's a
big- yeah,
difference, but it's
because
not.
she's
That's not a big difference.
Yeah,
It's,
yeah, it's a big difference, and she's right here. And so, yeah, I will go with
80.
6 months and 80, yes.
I'll go with that too.
I'll give you 5,000 each year.
Yeah, that's not much to ask for. So we have a motion. We don't have a second.
I will second that contingent on Ms. Altop speaking to the exact amount that she was expecting. I know she just said 80.
She said 80 for
In
6
writing.
months,
Okay.
right.
As a point of clarification, Madam Mayor, 80 for 6 months or an $80,000 annual salary for that 6 months?
Annual
Oh,
salary.
okay.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Thank you for that
Thanks for
clarification.
clarifying.
Also, she would like it in writing that she would not be fired.
I don't blame her.
She's got to, I mean, she is the clerk regardless of whether we bring another manager in or she's the manager. And she shouldn't be afraid of losing her job in the next 6 months.
Correct.
I mean, we can demote her as the city manager, or as the interim, but not as the clerk.
I could bring back I prefer it in writing anyways, the whole thing, so if it's fine with you all, I'm happy to bring back a contract at the next meeting.
Definitely fine.
Just make sure her job as city clerk is secure.
Deputy city clerk, right, Deanna? Okay.
That's it too.
All right, so the discussion on, do we want to go back and see what we want to, how we want to change this, or if
We had a
we have
motion and a
everything?
second, Madam Mayor,
We
on
sure
the floor. And I will amend
For
my
Deanna.
second to the contingency of it being brought back to us
My
at the
bad.
next meeting with the specificity of what Ms. Altop is asking for and the annual salary clarification. And maintaining her position
All
as,
right,
as deputy clerk.
gotcha. Any other commissioner comments on the motion? Hello. Did you hear the motion?
Yes.
Okay. All right, public comments on the motion.
Good evening,
Good
Melvin
evening.
Lauderdale. Deanna's a great choice.
Yes, she is.
My question is, does business in Archer now stop?
We hope not.
I mean, we're talking about, you know, if a new business comes to town, are we gonna be able to make the process, get the approvals, you know, be able to look at the applications? You know, I think that's an important question. I think she would do a great job, but at the same time, I don't think you should stop the search
Oh, no.
for a new manager, and you keep going, but, you know, in part of the contract, that you give her 30 days notice if you're gonna hire a new manager between now and the 6-month interim period that you're offering to her.
Yes, sir. Definitely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, I just, the basis of what we're deciding about the city manager and the interim, for clarification for Mr. Lauderdale, is that we, by law, and correct me, we have to comply by our ordinances for business, you know, applications, things like that. We cannot stop that just because we're discussing the moratorium process. That's a process in and of itself based on whatever zoning areas that we're looking at by a master planner with alternatives. But right now, I mean, I'm not legal, but if somebody comes in with an application, it's processed accordingly. And we've been doing it. And we've been doing it, so, thank you, Madam Mayor.
Any other comments, public comments on the motion? No more comments on the motion? Then let's go to a vote. All in favor of the motion on the floor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed likewise. Motion carries 5-0. Congratulations. All right, so now, discussion.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I wanted to talk about this because I know that there were some questions at the beginning of the meeting. It might be better suited for me to bring this back at the next meeting with the new outlined red line contract. for the citizenry to see as well, to see how they would work in harmony with one another. That may permit them to provide more meaningful feedback to the commission on what they think should and shouldn't be included in the job description.
Okay.
I'm comfortable with including the blank contract in a agenda packet. I don't have any issue with that. And I'll redline it to demonstrate the changes from the previous contract to the newly proposed contract.
That sounds good to me.
Yeah.
We're down here. We're down. All right. So, reports, correspondence, communications, and city manager's report.
Okay.
Madam Mayor, if it's appropriate, based on receiving these two documents, if we have any feedback, may we provide those to you?
Absolutely. Just please don't send it to the whole
To all,
commission,
but-
obviously. Yeah.
Okay.
And I can incorporate those.
Not overwhelm you, but
Sure.
just any feedback, because, there are a few things that, not that it has to be redlined as from F Hope or whatever, but just for
Yeah.
your input. Okay, thank you.
And if the citizens, sorry, and if the citizens want their input, they can just get one of the commissioners or send it straight to you? They probably need to send it to one of the commissioners.
one of
and ask
you.
forward it. Okay.
Yes. That said, obviously, I've disseminated the first version to you all. I can get you an updated red line this week, such that if citizens are asking, you can provide it sooner than the next meeting.
Okay.
We could even probably post it on the agenda for the next meeting really well in advance, and just let it hang until we get the rest of the agenda put together.
Thank you.
Okay, so this is my first report, but Public Works for the past month, they assisted with the food giveaways at Maddox the second and fourth Tuesday of every month. They're working out really well, and the citizens appreciate it, and also, people that aren't our citizens, we always have a lot of comments. I know the guys always hear that, and we get calls up here as well. They mowed and weeded all the zones, all the pump stations for DP. They fixed the water leak at Sandra's and Archer Woods. They fixed the leak in front of C. Liston's and Archer Woods. Filled some potholes in front of Miss Jackie's house. They did the meter readings, storm prep for 2 hurricanes, storm cleanup after 2 hurricanes, and they're currently working on the last mowing of the season. We had a meeting this afternoon with Alachua County and the sister municipalities for our storm debris pickup. The original piggyback agreements that we did with Tetra Tech and Ashbrook with the county and the city of Gainesville, FEMA is not favorable for those at all, so that's why we had to halt it a week or so ago. The Board of County Commissioners approved, they call them ILAs, which I think it means interlocal agreement, with municipalities that need there to be picked up. There's quite a few of us that need that done. Instead of us paying the contractor and the monitoring contractor, the county will pick everything up, pay the contractor, and submit for FEMA. Okay, the only little hiccup on that is gonna be until they get the ILLs out, every municipality signs them, some have gated communities, which is a little bit of a different thing, which we don't have. Then they can give us a time frame on when they can start picking up everybody. So our second option is Mr. Arnold has offered to clear the old dump site, to mow it, push it down with a grader, if I'm saying it right, Mr. Arnold, and assist with the debris pickup, and he is not gonna charge us anything for those services. But if we did go that route, it would take Public Works at least 3 to 4 weeks, and that would be all they could do, except for an emergency water leak or what have you, would be the only thing that would stop the debris pickup. So our recommendation, which I didn't talk to all of staff, was to wait for the county. But could be 3 weeks, could be 4, could be 2, we just don't know at this time.
So either way, we gotta wait 3 or 4 weeks.
That way we're not putting out the expense of having our Public Works, that's all they can do for straight weeks, is just sit and pick up debris. And even the big stuff, that's where we'd need Mr. Arnold, it would be too much for us to sit and saw all that down and pick it up. So he has offered to do that if you guys wanted to go that route.
Ian, I got a, alarm on my phone from the county today.
I got the same. It was just telling you that since we have county roads, they're starting the county pickup. So on
Okay,
County Road
so it's not-
346.
Gotcha.
Right, so,
It
no,
does
I
not,
fired
it
excited.
does not include the municipality from
No,
that
sir, no.
communication today? Because it was kind of
That's what I thought, yeah.
misunderstanding. I mean, it said county roads but we're providing this for your municipality, so.
You
I
said the
mean,
county had been approved for the FEMA and,
Yeah,
I'm
it's-
paraphrasing.
No, I got the same message. It's only the county roads will
So
be
it's
picking up.
241, US 2745 and 346.
I
is
don't know
what
if
the
it's
count-
45 or not, because that's a state road. They didn't give specifics. I just know municipalities, you either have to do it yourself or go through the county.
Unless you're on the linear of a county recognized road, 346,
Yes, sir, correct.
241.
Yes. And then, I just wanted to thank all the staff for their hard work. The last few weeks have been very challenging. As you know, we've had back-to-back hurricanes, and I think they've done an awesome job at pulling together. We've had to move people outside, inside, and everyone has to do extra job responsibilities. So,
May I ask, where did the TARP opportunity come from? That's a first. in my
that
14
came
years.
from,
Is that FEMA? or is that-
it came from Letcher County.
Really?
But then we did put in a request to get water and MREs, and we got a lot, and it was quick. I've never had something work that easy before.
And that was from the county as well?
That was from FEMA,
FEMA,
but it was
the
through
MREs.
the FDEM.
Okay.
You just submit a form, and the guy called me shortly after, and then he said it might be post-impact. It was actually the next day. It was same day.
Wow.
They were on the way with semis, so we have plenty if anything happens in the future, so.
Madam
Water
Mayor,
and MREs.
Before we leave it, I just, for clarification on the debris in the municipality, you know, home side or whatever, are we still going to rely on Waste Pro and their normal Thursday pickup for those kind of things? I mean, the piles of limbs,
What Dana called me was right after Helene, probably that Monday or so, and she said most municipalities were stopping yard debris because it was getting confusing and their trucks couldn't even get down some of the roads.
Right.
So I told her we were gonna follow that, and I don't know if we can resume that because somebody on the call had to stop Waste Pro just like we did, because FEMA doesn't, wants it, they GPS the whole route, so what Dana said that they would try, but it would probably be more involved than we would probably want to do. If I can re-ask her that question if you would like. I mean, it would only be the little piece that they're required, but people just have it thrown out there however, just because that's what we had told them to
right,
do.
so that's why I'm asking. So what are we doing with that debris roadside within the municipality? How is that getting handled?
I can try to see if she can restart the pickup, but I think they were trying to back off to let FEMA take over the reimbursement of all of it.
So are we going to rely on FEMA for that pickup within the
No, the
municipality?
county is gonna pick it all up, and they're gonna deal with FEMA for the
For
debris.
reimbursement?
Yes.
The county's going to
They're
assist
gonna
us
pay
within the
for it.
municipality?
Yeah, they're gonna pay for it.
Okay.
And get reimbursement. So we don't, because before, we were gonna have to pay the 80, 100,000, whatever it was gonna be.
To get
and then
reimbursed.
wait to
I mean-
get reimbursed. This way, we don't have to pay that upfront money
Right.
if we do wait
Okay,
on the
and that's why I'm
counties.
asking this question,
Yes.
because we've had storms in the past
Yes.
years,
And
and
people
that,
have been calling, and I know it's frustrating. We have
okay.
debris everywhere, me included, right next to me, so I
But right-
understand.
but right
Just so
now
we
we
know,
can-
and the public here
Yes,
tonight knows that the
yes.
process and how that's going to happen.
But we're still we're waiting until
Those
we get the-
ILAs come through, yes, and then
Okay.
the attorney will need to see them, and I don't know if we need to have a special meeting, Danielle, or if they can say it's okay for the mayor or myself to sign, or,
My only hesitance is that they haven't seen it.
oh, I understand.
We may need to do a special meeting. Obviously, keeping in
Once it
mind,
comes.
yeah, once it comes. Obviously, we're always looking out for Archer's best interest, but you know that we're gonna have multiple cities that are gonna be chomping at the bit for this, for our office, so.
Correct.
I can assure you that it will probably be Phyllis Walker leading the charge, wanting to know when the ILAs are coming in. So, I'll keep you all apprised. It would be a very, very quick meeting, I mean, a half hour. But essentially, getting those ILAs into place sooner rather than later are gonna be very important.
Thank you.
I just wanted to note that the MREs and the water we gave out, I believe before Helene and after, were from last year's hurricane that FEMA brought us, and we had just had in the barn. So they bought us more, and again, we'll give it out as needed, but it takes up space in the barn, just want everybody to know. We do have it, and the water's good for till like 2036. It's amazing to me. It's in cartons.
Madam Mayor, may I ask, on the food giveaways on Tuesdays, you know, or every other week or whatever, are we offering those MREs and water?
Currently, no, because we're doing it with somebody else. It's partnered with.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, we could, yes, we could do that. We're doing it every day of the week for the last couple weeks, until last
Okay.
week.
Okay.
We had it out there for anybody to get what they needed.
And they just drive by the pavilion and pick it up, and they're just there? Okay. Thank you.
Deanna, since we are, or Cindy, whomever, since we are going to piggyback off the county, does that mean we won't be filing for FEMA as a municipality?
Oh, no, we're not piggybacking anymore. They're interlocal agreements, if I understand correctly. But yes, we still need to file for the trailers we bought, for a saw, for staff time. The staff time is a little bit more difficult, but Cindy knows, we know what we're
Also
doing.
West Farms?
Oh, yeah, West Farms took some stuff
Okay.
down. We're
So
still
we-
investigating how that
Yeah,
occurred.
we still have to file.
Yeah, we do, yes.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
Done, Deanna? They finished. All right, attorneys.
The only update I have for you guys is our announcement 2 months in advance to give you guys time to plan. December 18th is going to be our ethics presentation this year. Your mandatory 4 hours pursuant to the statute is satisfied by attending our training. We're happy to have you guys. We'll have food and hopefully some entertainment. Yeah, I know ethics can be pretty dry and dull, but we try to keep you guys entertained. It'll be at our office from 4 to 8 p.m. We have sent out an email requesting that you guys RSVP ahead of time, so just so we can get a head count for purposes of food.
So 4, not 4:30.
Is it 4 or 4:30?
I don't know.
Well, I don't know. You're making me second
Look.
guess myself now.
I think I saw that email last week, so I don't remember. I thought it was 4.
4 to 8.
I think it's 4 to 8.
Okay.
Mr. Folds turns into a pumpkin at 8:15, so we can't do that to
I
him.
turned into one at 3.
I got news for y'all. Anything beats Florida League of Cities. I sat there and said, "Am I gonna be over?" I did mine online and it was awful. I did dishes while I listened. I did this while I.
I can promise you it'd be more entertaining than that.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. Commissioner reports. Start with you, Commissioner Hope.
I continue to act as the chair for the North Central Florida Planning, Regional Planning Council, and attend that. I attended the MTPO, nothing to report as far as any updates on State Road 24. And then I have reached out to Commissioner Mary Alford and not had a return contact back regarding any opportunities for emergency shelter location within Archer, i.e. the school. Just as a starting point, I have not reached out to the school superintendent or administration regarding it. I still am processing that to do that, just to keep the ball rolling. Why did we stop? Why was the school not included and continued? Is it because of volunteer services not available, whatever? So, and I haven't gotten an update, but that's all I have to report. Thank you.
Speaking of that, our school lost power, both storms. And the second one, our school was the only school to lose power. Yeah. Anyway, Commissioner Green Archer, yeah.
Nothing, just that I've attended the, attended the soil, what was the thing called Saturday?
The soil and quilt
Soil and
ceremony.
oh, it was beautiful. It was so beautiful. And Jerry Crawford and what was her name? Michelle Rutledge, with all the other people that helped. I mean, it was just beautiful. Every stitch in the quilt represented something, and you know, the train, and yes, Kathy put one little stitch in there. She wanted everybody to know it, Commissioner Penny, just one. But you know, it represented, it all represented something that was so interesting. Yeah, I was kind of jealous. I'm like, oh, I should have put that little stitch in there. I didn't think I could do it.
So you could talk about it.
So I could talk about my stitch and brag on it. But it was, I mean, it was very well represented Archer and the history of Archer as well, very well. So I enjoyed that job, very well done.
Is that all?
Yes.
Thank you so much. Commissioner White.
I don't think I have anything. I went through 2 hurricanes.
We all did, thank God. Go ahead, Vice Mayor. What you got?
Yes, so
Microphone.
okay, so the Soil and the Quilt program on Saturday was awesome.
Yeah, it was.
And I did help to make the quilt and come to the meetings.
One stitch.
Keep going, one stitch.
And to make the quilt, it was very interesting to learn some of the details in reference to the quilting and how people made the quilts and what every item meant on the quilt. Representing Archer in some kind of shape, form, or way. And yes, I did help with that sun. That fourth line up. No. Okay. And also, I had a meeting with the opioid committee by Zoom. We're getting ready to do some things with that. Because Alachua County is still, Alachua County in the state of Florida is still in the top 5 with opioid
use and abuse.
Abuse or heavy use of, and this is with the youth. This is not like adults. We're talking about kids in elementary to high school. Jesus. That Alachua County is still very high. And like, I work at a hospital, and some weekends when I work, you'll be surprised with the adults and the young youth coming in with some kind of opioid that they done took, and the effect that they have, that it has on it. So I think it's such a important thing for us to work with. I'm proud to represent Archer in that. Also, YMCA, I had a Zoom meeting with them. Also, we having, it's called Rock Fest. It's going to be October the 24th, and it's going to be at the YMCA this year. And I think working with both of them, because the YMCA works so much with the youth, and they're in such desperate need of money and people to donate money and also their time. So if you have some time that you can donate to them or donate some money to them, they really, really need it. The Rock Fest is like, I want to say again, October the 24th, I want to say 5 to 8, and it's their biggest fundraiser of the year. So if you have time to go by, time to donate, and they're having a silent auction, I think the items will be on the YMCA website. That you know, if you can't come and you just want to give some money or, bid on some of the items.
Did you say it was at the YMCA?
It's going to be at the YMCA this year, because usually they have it at a different ranch or something. So they're trying to, you can tell they're trying to really, really cut money this year. It's going to be at the YMCA, and it's going to, if you're into what it is, not ping pong, but
TikTok?
What it is?
Table tennis? She said TikTok.
Not TikTok. Pickleball. Yeah, it's going to be a pickleball theme. So if you play pickleball and you have a team and you want to donate your time and donate some money to the YMCA, I can't emphasize enough. And I have some forms if you want to donate to them, because I think the two is hand in hand, because they do work with the youth a lot. They have a lot of programs that they working with, and that's all I know.
That's a good little bit. Thank you. All right, so I also attended that soil and quilt ceremony, and I do have a pretty nice picture. So if you want to see the quilt, because it was interesting, and they did talk about what each thing means. My daughter actually recorded it, so if I am your friend on Facebook, you could view the ceremony as well. So I do have that picture of that. And then we talked about the summit that we were part of in Hawthorne. Yeah, and that was what, maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks ago? I don't even remember. Not long. Between the two storms. And it was actually really good, and I have a lot of information from that one that I'm going to share with you, Deanna, because it gives us information about different organizations and monies that we may qualify for as a city. So I'm going to share that information with you. Last but not least, we need to talk about, we have an employee that is not complying, chooses to say no often. And now, the latest thing is that when Cindy was trying to find out the shirt size, he decided to tell her, you know, that pretty much that he wasn't giving her the shirt size because he's not wearing a city shirt. And we decided as a group that we wanted them in uniform. So we, you know, my thing is, if you are refusing, then I don't know, we have steps for that, like a write-up, and you get so many, then you gotta go. But we cannot have our employees dictating and deciding what they are and are not gonna do. If you don't wanna do the job, you need to go. That's my opinion.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
I'm happy to work with Deanna in the personnel policy to determine the appropriate steps that need to be taken if someone is not complying or being insubordinate. Happy to do that.
All righty. So please, let's get on that ASAP because it's a problem. All right. Let me see. I think that was it. We are going to the last public comment period. Please state your name, and you have 3 minutes.
Karen Fiore, ethics, right and wrong that prescribe what humans ought to do. So you had an employee that knowingly stopped paying for the employment tax, knowingly. And I don't care if it offends anyone in this room if I use these words, but that resulted in the city of Archer stealing money from your employees, in probably more than $87,000. You take the money out of the employee's paycheck, it is supposed to go into a separate fund. That money, if your employees were not able to determine how much should have been transferred, they should have been making estimates to the state, estimating each quarter or monthly, I'm not sure how many times they have to do it based on their payroll. It should not have stopped. So again, I don't care if it offends you. The city of Archer stole employees' money. And if anyone up here knew that those weren't being paid, again, that is really bad. And the fact that we're acting as if this is not a big deal is very disturbing. Very disturbing. If I was an employee of the city, I would be going to the state immediately, filing reports saying that they stole my money and did not deposit it where they're supposed to deposit it. When were you going to find this out by your staff? You found it out through an email. I suspect that because it was delinquent and no one was paying it. So your staff didn't even come forward to you and tell you what this was happening. That is not okay. The state auditor, I believe, needs to be brought into attention from the city of Archer. I don't think any staff is capable, or this commission is capable, of fixing your finances at this point. Very disappointing. I'm only at 1:43, so I should stand up here and just continue to speak, but, you know, I don't want to sound like that bully that you make me out to be. I'm stating the facts, and you don't like to hear it. You're all at fault for this.
Thank you very much. I can hear the facts. I don't like for you to be rude, but thank you for your opinion again.
Bill Lewandowski, two quick things. One, in regards to the MREs. If they are being stored in a non-climate controlled building over 75 degrees, they are not going to last that long. Trust me when I tell you that. I haven't had many bad MREs over my lifetime. So if they're not in a climate control, you give me a call and I'll give you details on how to store them properly. Happy to do that. Okay, there's an old military saying that says you can delegate authority, but you cannot delegate responsibility. Folks, I'm not going to yell at you, but you know,
go ahead.
I'm not. That's not my style. You know that. But when I come here 1 month and I hear, well, we didn't file the reemployment report with the state. It's only going to cost us $50. Okay. Come another time and I hear we're not paying payroll taxes for like 4 quarters. Folks, that's bad. I mean, it's really bad. And I know that you all are doing all these things outside of you know, the community. Mr. Hope is sitting on a regional board and all these other things. I don't understand how you can leave the city and not come here and figure out what the heck is going on. I mean, I just can't say how bad it really is. I mean, any board I've ever sat on, that board would be gone for that. I mean, it just would be. I just can't imagine a nonprofit or for-profit organization that could live with that. So please, please, please fix this. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lewandowski. Before the next person comes, let me say this. I mean, you can come to the front if you want to, but before the next person comes, we said, 1-2 months ago, we cannot communicate with each other except in our public meetings. I expect for everybody to do their job. When I see different bills, and especially if I'm asked to sign for them and I have questions, I ask my questions. If I get certain emails that are suspicious or that I am alarmed about, I call Deanna. I've been calling Deanna when I don't know. I call Cindy because I want to know. If something doesn't come up and it doesn't come to our emails, we don't know until we get here. We are citizens elected to serve on this board, to oversee. We do the best we could with the information that we have. That's all I could say to you guys. You could continue to say that we stole, and I don't care that Commissioner White agrees that that is what Karen says and that is Karen's opinion. That's fine. We are hearing this, we are getting the information just like you just got it. So the question was at the beginning, where do we go from here? We've asked our attorney to do a couple things so that we could try to figure out where we go from here. No, it doesn't look very good, but we don't literally sit here every day with the day-to-day operations and run it. And as a matter of fact, we cannot dibble and dabble in the operations of the city. That's not our place. Our place is to oversee. So come on down. I just need that to hold on, because she's been standing and waiting, and I told her to hold on, and then I called her.
Hold on just a minute. Look, just to be clear, 2 weeks ago, I had called Caleb to find out about the audit, where we were at, because they were supposed to show up the Wednesday and Thursday that we had the hurricane. Caleb told me that Cindy had told him that we owed a year and a half for employment taxes. I said to Caleb that I'm going to the commission. I'll have a special call meeting, go to the commission. He said, hold on, let me get with Cindy. He got with Cindy, Cindy got with me and said that she would email each one of you. She emailed today. This was 2 weeks ago. She said she would email.
Okay.
She emailed you today. Had I known it was going to take 2 weeks, I would have had a special call meeting because it was that important to me and it worried me.
When did we have our last meeting? How long ago was it?
September 30th.
Okay.
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
So that's where it's at. I mean, y'all would have known it when I knew it, except I was told she was sending an email.
Okay. I'm sorry, go ahead.
You know, and it's not, while she's coming, it's not fair to us for you to come up here and bash every one of us like we're thieves every time.
Amen.
That's, we try to work with the information that we get.
True.
Personally, I don't like your attacks. You know, because I'm sitting on this board.
Hello.
And I think everybody else up here has integrity.
Hello.
So I don't think you would want anybody to go to your job and false accuse you. So I think, you know, say what you have to say, but do it with respect. But don't attack us as though we're pocketing money, stealing money. Our job is to work through the city manager, which is a liaison between us and the office.
Correct.
That's our job. It's not really our job to come in and oversee the office. That's what we have the city manager for. So don't look at all of us up here and everybody go to clapping like we're thieves. Okay? I don't accept it. Because I wouldn't do that to any of you.
I wouldn't either. That's all I've been saying. Thank you very much. Go ahead. Hold on. We keep having her waiting.
I'm just going to add one thing, because I was one of them that said we were in.
I'm sorry, Ms. Skinner.
And we were. Neither one of us.
One of the ones that said what?
I said, I was,
before you came in.
I said we were inadvertently stealing. We did not know. We did not know.
Not we.
But, and it was our money too. I mean, ours didn't get paid either. But the money was the employees' money. All of them. And it didn't get paid.
Victims, not.
We're victims, but we should have been told about it.
But that's the point.
And that's what I'm saying. And there's where the problem lies with me, is we should have been told, and we haven't been. We had a manager that didn't tell us. We've got an accountant that hasn't told us, and we're in hell of a shape.
All right, I'm so sorry, Ms. Skinner. Please come forward.
Brenda Skinner, resident. I understand your frustration, but please understand that we're just as frustrated because it's our dollars.
I do.
That have been, and I'm going to use the word, misappropriated.
Thank you.
Okay? But the other thing that bothers me is this isn't the first time this has come up. If you can look back at last month's tapes of the meetings, the minute this came up tonight, I thought, wait a minute, this isn't the first time this has come up. The question was asked, and if I remember correctly, Commissioner White was the one who turned, and it was to either the city manager when he was here, or it was to Cindy, and I can't remember which one it was. And you specifically asked the question, so have the unemployment taxes been paid? And we were told, no, they haven't been, we don't have to do that.
That was the report, though. That was the report.
Okay, the report. But if you paid them, you'd have a report. Can we go back and look at the tapes from previous commission meetings?
You say, can we?
Mm-hmm.
It's two different items, Brenda. One of them is the employment taxes have not been paid, internal revenue.
Okay.
Yeah. The other was the Florida State report.
Okay.
Yeah, the
The
reemployment.
reemployment.
It was a report that had to be done, and I guess we owed $50 on it. I don't know, we probably got a fine.
So
on it,
neither
too.
one of them have been paid.
My understanding is the $50 one has, no?
We haven't even received the $50 fee yet. It's a report that was due on 6/30.
All right, and then my other concern is you guys are talking a certain amount of money that we owe the federal government. Have you even thought about the fees that are going to be tacked on top of that? Because the longer they're not paid, the more you're going to owe.
Yes, ma'am, thank
Yes.
you.
Again, the problem is some of us are just getting this information, the most of us.
Hello,
Hello.
Lisette, Conde resident. So this has been very confusing to me because it didn't come up during the budget discussions that I recall. So if this has been going on for like over a year, why are we just learning about it now? And to Commissioner Green's point, you know, that the public isn't trying to hold you accountable for what you don't know, but for what you do know or ought to know or ought to have known. So if this is just coming up now, I mean, there's some personnel issues that you may need to think about, right? Are there, I mean, this is a very small town. Are there any functioning boards that are in small towns? I mean, I understand that they can't meet, you know, that it's not in public, but it just seems like every meeting we're just beating our heads against the wall because we understand things in a certain way that it should be functioning, but they seem either their hands are tied or they don't know or they can't. Like, what is going on?
Some of it, Madam Mayor, I think is the frequency of y'all's meetings. The once-a-month meetings make it tough. All of our other cities do twice-a-month meetings. So we represent 8 local municipalities, and they all do twice a month. So you don't end up with the month goes by, you can't really remember what happened at the last meeting. I do think that that resolves some of the issues that are being kind of brought to light tonight of there's only so much you can remember from a month ago unless you're rewatching the last meeting at, you know, right before the next meeting. All of our cities have strengths and weaknesses. The city of Newberry is a very good city. It's a very well-oiled machine. They also have a much bigger budget. With that piece is the fact that the personnel, they just have much more personnel. You know, they have the capabilities of hiring department heads. So, I mean, they have 2 assistant city managers. You know, we're talking about a city where you've got a city manager, a deputy city clerk, and a finance director, and that's really basically your leadership team, whereas like the city of Newberry, for example, will have city manager, 2 assistants, city managers. They also function as other roles. Jamie Jones is public works and utilities, and then Dallas Lee is also their finance director. So some of it is the fact that their budget is just so much bigger. It gives them the ability to outsource help. I mean, that said, Madam Mayor, your sister cities, time and time again, are always willing to provide personnel on a temporary basis to help. I know that the city of Newberry has expressed that same sentiment, that if there's ever anything that they can do to help, they're happy to do it. Did that answer? I'm sorry, I went into a whole diatribe.
No, thank you. I needed that because I think that we run into this continuity issue that it's like every meeting seems to be the first meeting we've had in a long time. And I mean, this issue is not a small issue. And I think, you know, we may not like what Karen has to say and how she said it, but I'm really concerned because I have known businesses that have not followed proper procedure and have held, either taxes, some kind of taxes from their employees, and the fees that come with that, and the legal fees, right? I mean, we're lucky to have you, but it's just another set of issues that we don't need right now. I mean, we have enough things going on. So I'm just like imploring you to please figure out a way to make us into a more well-oiled machine, so that these issues, again, huge. I mean, these things are pretty huge, and I think that that's what Karen was trying to communicate. And I understand, I mean, I would be defensive too. I wouldn't like to hear that either, but I think that at some point we need to find in our core, what is it that we want? We all have that in common. That we want Archer to thrive and to be successful. So I think if we start working from that understanding, we're not just attacking each other, we're trying to make our voices heard. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, one more thing before Mr. Tufano starts. I do want to tell you guys all, as well, that all 7 other sister cities complain about sunshine law as well. So you all aren't alone in that qualm of not being able to talk to each other outside of the meetings. I know that that's a difficult portion of how Florida operates local government, but I just wanted to let you guys know you're not alone in that.
Well, I know that we're not, but thank you anyway.
Charles Tufano, resident. I just wanted to, for the record, let it be known that if it wasn't for Karen Fiore, we wouldn't have had a balanced budget. She has presented some very compelling, technical, broad scope data, and I really think that we should really follow what she's been saying, and like I say, if it wasn't for her, we wouldn't even, to this point, would have had a balanced budget. So, and just, again, what Bill had voiced too, I mean, we got to get our act together here, guys. I mean, I see the issues with the sunshine law, but it's also stuff we've been talking about for a long time. So I appreciate your support.
You're welcome, thank you. And you and Ms. Lissette said the same thing. I don't need you to respond, but this is the first time this just came. So yes, there have been issues, and it does seem like every month or every other month we're finding out something else, but it's not the same, but it's the same but not the same. You're coming? Come on. I'm ready.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Gene Arnold.
Hi.
Madam Mayor. The community event that you had the other night.
Yes, sir.
Was wonderful.
Thank you.
It's a shame that less than 15 people showed up, because you had a wonderful panel and you talked about a lot of good things going on in Archer.
Correct.
Compensation. Do you guys make about $6,000 a year? Is that what the compensation is to do this job for y'all? Close to that? Gross. Okay. God bless you for taking the barbs that you do.
Correct.
The city attorney mentioned Newberry. I think their budget is somewhere around $40 million. Archer's is 1.5. Couple things that have been interesting in the last month or so. Madam Mayor, in your absence, as you know, the city manager was fired, whether that was for cause or not. A budget was done by a resident that y'all adopted. I think they used a basic Excel spreadsheet. I'm not sure how that's going to be managed or kind of tracked, whether that's through Edmunds or QuickBooks. I'm curious how the general fund, when you did the budget, it's how much money's coming in, how much money's going out. What about the general health of Archer? How do we find out how much money's in the general fund, in the other fund, or the bank account? Is that something that we have to request? Is there something that is explained on that? I'm just kind of curious. It was mentioned the other day, I think, does the city of Archer own residential lots? Are you aware?
There are a few, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
They own surplus properties. I know that I had mentioned this to you, Madam Mayor, at the meeting. The city of Gainesville is doing an excellent program where they're taking 10 lots that they got from foreclosures, and they're actually building low-income housing on it near Depot Park in that Porter's neighborhood. It's fantastic what's going on. They just finished up their first house. Speaking of foreclosures, let's talk about roosters for a minute. We had a 30-minute conversation not too long ago at a commission meeting talking about roosters and talking about foreclosing on someone's property over roosters. Can't make this up. I believe that there was about $15,000 owed for a rooster. And the city attorney's not here, but y'all had talked about foreclosing. I met the young woman in question. She's 82 years old, as sweet as can be. She's over at the farmer's market. The property in question is on 5 acres. And then she owns another 2 to 3 acres around the property.
Wrap it up.
Just want to talk about roosters.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I was gonna go to the bathroom, but I wanted to comment on that. I didn't file a foreclosure action on her property. She complied, and so we stopped the foreclosure action.
Okay. Thank you.
I'm gonna use the restroom now.
Thank you. Are there additional public comments before I close?
I'm Ronnie Arnold. I own R.E. Arnold Construction. I was just looking up some of the duties of the commissioners, and one of the first things it talks about is the commission is to encourage economic development. I know you folks really don't ever have time to ever consider that, it seems, but that is the city has a severe problem from a financial standpoint, and I sympathize with you. I don't know how you all do this job. I really don't. But you've got to generate income for the city, and you need economic development to do that.
Correct.
So I just wanted to put that out there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I have a question. Excuse me. Madam Mayor Melvin
Yes.
Lauderdale.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to address the question to Ms. Adams when she gets back.
Oh, okay.
She's taking a little break.
Correct. Okay. Well, you may as well come on back. Mr. Lauderdale has a question for you. No, you're good.
I'm Melvin Lauderdale.
Hi.
Earlier in the meeting, we were talking about the moratorium that was being considered
Correct.
or proposed. And you mentioned that there was a business review. What did you call that? What
So
was-
it's called a business impact estimate. It was a law that was established by the Florida legislature July 1st of either 2023 or 2024 it went into effect. And it essentially says that now when cities enact ordinances on the second read, they have to provide what's called a business impact estimate. And it asks various questions like, how many businesses are going to be impacted? Is there a compliance cost? Essentially to evaluate how many businesses are going to be affected. Are you imposing a new fee? What's the maintenance cost going to be for businesses? And so the discussion was that that's not something my office is adept to handle.
So theoretically, I own a piece of property that I've been working on for several years, that I have gotten credentials from different aspects, different agencies. And if the moratorium is put in place for the next year, and I have a user come in for industry, I'm not going to be able to do anything, because I'm going to have to disclose to the potential user that there's a moratorium on all industrial property in Archer. Does that make Archer liable for my loss?
No. No. Moratoriums have been upheld by courts repeatedly as long as they're tied to a rational basis for the moratorium.
Oh, you said what again?
A rational basis test.
A rational basis.
Yeah, it's the Supreme Court's words, not mine, I promise. I'm not making them up.
A rational basis.
Yeah, when you.
That's an interesting term.
When you control individuals' rights as the government, there are different levels of scrutiny that you go through depending on if it's a First Amendment or if it's, land use. We're looking at a rational basis test.
So in my position, so what do I need to do to prove to the commission that the moratorium would be not rational on my property because of the work and the consideration and the time and the money and the partners that have become involved in this particular piece of property or properties?
Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to answer that question for you as the legal advisor for the city. I apologize.
That's quite all right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome very much.
All right. Just in the nick of time.
Pamela Natil, resident. And I just have a question about something that was said earlier. It was along the lines of the report that was due on June 30th. It was forgotten to file it. And we're here in October, and if I heard right, it's still not filed?
I don't remember her saying it was forgotten.
She said I forgot to file it.
That was the state. The report.
Oh, the report.
I think it was the report.
No, because the report, she said she didn't get.
She said she didn't file it.
She said that she did say she
Apologize. She said they had not sent, let us know what we owe or something to that.
What the late fee is for not filing that quarterly report.
Right, they didn't send that.
And I can attest just publicly, when I asked the accountant, staff accountant, I said, Cindy, has that report been filed? And what she disclosed that she forgot or it wasn't timely. She has told me, unless she blatantly is telling me an untruth, that it is completed and been sent. And again, I'm looking to you, Ms. Althoff, because you would know whether it was signed and mailed, I guess, but she told me it was done.
I texted her to try to see if she's still over there. I haven't signed anything, so I can't answer at the moment either.
And again, I'm just disclosing what she told me directly to me when I said.
Are you there?
There you go.
Okay.
It was filed the day I came back from
Okay.
so prior to.
Thank you. That's what I was saying, Cindy, is that I personally asked you, just, has that been completed? You said yes.
It's an electronic file.
It's electronic, and we just have not received the late fee, penalty fee for it being late.
Okay.
Which is approximately $50. So.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, then, we are adjourning at 8:00.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Let me speak.
Were you about to say something?
Yeah,
Yes.
typically, because we don't get to talk.
No, we're not.